Friends, family, and keepers of the faith, welcome to another Del Boy blog. And we usually date stamp this, so we'll get that out of the way. So this is year 3 blog 10, or in legacy numbers, blog 114. And today's date is the 28th of April 2024. And we usually start off with how this week has gone, and it's much like many of the others, although busier. That's what I will say. And I suppose busy is a good word to use, because I've tried to say that the more things happen to you which cause you to be sad, if you concentrate your mind on things, it takes things away. Those things don't go away, but sometimes your brain needs to switch off from those, sort of like reset itself. And that hasn't exactly worked, but I can turn around and say that it's helped a little. So on Monday, yes, I got a phone call at 8:15 in the morning to say that my hospital appointment was cancelled till tomorrow. Not a big thing, although it was another day of dwelling, because if anybody saw the blog last week will know that I was really thinking about my ECG over the weekend, and it would have been nice to have got it over with. And Monday was supposed to be a day where I was going for an ECG and getting a blood test because my tablets have changed, and they need to test my kidneys to make sure that after 2 weeks nothing drastic has changed. So Monday started off like a normal Monday, really, although I found it difficult to concentrate on work when I wasn't really expecting to do much because of the hospital. But you get through it, you do some odd jobs, and then you get to the afternoon and you go to the nurse to have the blood test. Nothing drastic happened there, but boy, she left me a bruise. I don't know if you can see, but it's going down now. But today is Sunday. It was last Monday when I got that, and oh boy, did that not hurt, but that was like covering my arm quite a bit. And Monday evening, and I finally got to do my discussion with Denny, and Ian Hill, the Ramblings, joined in, and it was our discussion on the Charlton Heston dystopian future films. That was a couple of hours and was really fun. I hope everybody got a little bit of an education. It definitely was a nostalgia trip for me. It was fun to have Ian come in at a later time, and I went to bed feeling quite happy, tired, but happy, because you can imagine I went to bed quite late that night. So then Tuesday comes around, no call, and this time it was ready to go to the ECG. So I went there. Lots of people were waiting. I got there quite early. Was called in, and a lovely lady said, "You're going to get barraged with questions, just pre-warning you." I said, "No." I said, "Ask as many questions as you want. I'd rather get this over and done with and get some sort of like closure to this." I said, it's been a bit of a change for me, because what I thought was just congestion, like having a cold without having one, has turned into something quite major for me in my life. So she asked the normal questions and wrote all those down. Then I got over to the bed and she put all of the sensors all over me, and then told me what she thought I needed. Apparently I ticked a number of boxes with the questions. The ECG gave exactly the same results as the doctors, with a slight concern. and she decided that I needed to have a myocardial perfusion scan, which sort of semi ran with me on what that was without her having to explain it. Because I turned around and I said, "Is that where they colour your blood?" And she went, "Yeah, that's part of it." So she explained to me that with what I was telling her about the sort of halfway round on a walk, feeling a stubborn type heartburn feeling, and then slowing down and even stopping reduces it or gets it to go away. And at certain points, pins and needles at the tips of your fingers, I've ticked enough boxes to say that they need to know where that particular problem is. So she put me in for an emergency scan. It would be at the hospital. Only it would be at the Oxford Hospital, which is quite far away for me. I did tell her the difficulty of that. There wasn't much that she could do about it. So I just thought to myself, there's no point pushing this. That will be a problem when the date comes through. And I sort of left there going, well, I've learnt really nothing. I did tell her, though, that in the last 2 weeks, I've been able to extend my walk slightly more before the sensation comes on. It's almost like 3/4 of a mile to a mile now. She said that's a good thing. Maybe the tablets are having a good effect, she said. Always remember as well, she said that this scan is because we still don't know what's wrong. And so therefore I should be on quite high alert. And if I feel any pain whatsoever, if I wake up in the night with hot sweats, the funny pain sensation without exerting yourself, immediately call 999, not 911. And I went, okay. So again, that puts you on sort of like spider senses tingling mode. And I just told work, and they said keep us informed. Then a funny thing happened on Tuesday. I think I remember telling you that at work we do what they call a career breakdown to see for you to get a pay rise, and I filled one out. It took a year. There's a year sort of like appraisal thing, and then my new line manager told me that there was nowhere to send it. Apparently, I was at the top tier of my pay band, and therefore there was nothing to send. Well, I got an email from HR saying, we haven't received your career breakdown, so unfortunately we're not going to be giving you a pay rise this year. So I sent an email back saying, well, no, I filled one in, I gave it my manager, and my manager told me that there was no way to send it. They sent it back to me saying that the manager's misunderstood. There is a time all the way up until the 10th of May to get that to us. And if there's any problems, get your line manager to contact me, because if you don't get it to us by the 10th, you're getting nothing. And don't worry, if they do get it to us and we assess it, it will be backdated to April. See how things happen for me. It's like I kept pushing for this. My manager assured me nothing was going on, and then I get an email that says, where is it? And this would have stopped me from getting a pay increase, an inflationary one at that. So yeah, wasn't in the best of moods. Tuesday evening was a nice little break. I managed to get some sleep, and on Wednesday I looked forward to a live stream with Ian Hill, the Ramblings, and there it came along, and very happy time. And it's amazing that we shut down the camera and 3.5 hours has gone by talking about absolute anything we wanted. It's so sort of like invigorating to work and talk to someone, because I've mentioned before that I don't get that many phone calls. I've noticed that even conversations on Messenger with other friends has diminished to nothing. And it always seems like I have to make the first move to have a conversation. Surely, if your friends are concerned about you, they'd contact you. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at things wrong. But I suppose that's that thing that I keep talking about, that wanting, that need to feel loved, that if you do a weekly blog, you would think that somebody would then phone or whatever. I decided that at some point you have to sort of like turn around and say, you're on your own. Don't worry about it. Family is important. Concentrate on your mum. Concentrate on you. The collaborations are helping. Continue with those. Control the things you can control. Don't try and control the things you can't. But it does make you feel empty that when I, saw that my friends were in pain, I phoned them instantly. I wanted to help. And I don't get the return back. But if you push, you feel like you're begging, or and at the end of the day, I did my part off my own back. I don't know. I'm not gonna think about it too much. So we get to Thursday, and a huge weight lifted off my mind on Thursday because I got a haircut. Oh, such a bad joke, I know. But no. Thursday came along, normal work. Got to where my mother gets her hair done, and got a bit of a haircut. And Thursday came and went, and Friday was the day where normally I'd start watching a lot more YouTube than I'd done during the week. But do you know what? I didn't feel like I wanted to join in with any chats or anything. I decided that I'd play a game. So there was no Friday waffle because that happened on a Saturday. So it turned out quite well. So instead of going to some sort of like movie chats like I do on a Friday, I decided I'd do something for me. The only other thing I missed during that week that I didn't explain there was a very good friend of mine, who, well, not a great friend, but a friend that I've known for a while now, reached 10,000 subs. So I recognized in one of his videos this week that he wants to get into westerns, and although he'd got this film in a collection that had been sent to him as a gift, he hadn't got one in 4K. And one of the ones that he mentioned was Rio Bravo, which was in this collection that he'd got. And I thought to myself, do you know what? You can get that steelbook now. It's actually quite cheap. It didn't sell that well. I wonder if he'd appreciate getting something, to reach 10,000 subs. Because my mind goes, when I reach a milestone of anything, I think about the things that happened that day. And it'd be nice to think back and go, hey, and something came through the post to mark a milestone. So I got a really nice voice recorded message through Messenger thanking me for the gift. And I said, not a problem. It wasn't a subscriber mail. When my friend Mamemeister comes here, I don't buy him a subscriber bag of chips or a subscriber pint, right? Those are things that you do. It's like, you're my friend, aren't you? So if I want to treat you, is that not okay? By calling it subscriber mail or subscriber gift, you're making it sound like I'm a fanboy that sent a present because I want my name read out for something. No. I don't do any of that. I remember in the early days with Mamemeister, I was in the middle of my job changing where all the hardware was being chucked out. I saw um, um, his um, his output, and I sent certain bits and bobs to him that were going to go in the Grundon that day to him to say, hey, maybe you could feature this as a topic. Now, a lot of that didn't happen, but the offer was there, and to be quite honest, you look in retrospect and you go, hey, do you know what? Maybe that was a good thing that that didn't happen. Because I wasn't again sending my friend Mamemeister a subscriber gift. Do you know what I mean? It's just I saw some of these things that might help with playing arcade games with new bits of hardware. I remember one of them was one of those mice which are used for assistive technology, people that have got problems with repetitive strain injury. They put the mouse ball at the top like a trackball, and I wondered, I wonder if that would be good for missile command in MAME. And I sent that to Alan, and he didn't feature it, but I think he appreciated it. He always appreciates it. Of course he does. And it was because I hadn't really done too much of my own show for me to do it myself. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have things like capture cards at that time. I was just doing a blog. So yeah. So anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. Saturday has come and gone. The only bad thing is that my she was all excited about going to not excited, but looking forward, I think, to getting out of the house to go and look for some plants and some flowers at a garden centre. And yesterday she didn't want to. No, I'm not feeling well. Don't want to go. My leg hurts. So I'm sort of like pushing her today. And I've told her today's D-Day. You got to go. If it's raining, we're going. If it's snowing, we're going. It's half an hour out of your life. 10 minutes to travel there, 10 minutes to travel back, and however long it takes for you to wander along and go, oh, that looks nice and that looks nice. That's it. And you'll be walking less than 300 meters in the whole of it. So, you're coming. So that's what's happening after this blog, to be quite honest. And I talk about the weather sometimes, and the weather today is overcast. It's been raining all night. It was raining yesterday. And apparently the weather is on the turn for next week, which is good news, because I believe next week is another full week, but Monday is a bank holiday. So we get a long weekend next week in England. So that'd be nice to get some more work out the way. Anything else I missed? Yes. On Friday, I did one of my other film capsule reviews. This one was Stan and Ollie. And although I missed the fact about mentioning that I did a discussion with Denny, I did put it in the description. And I couldn't believe how easy it was to talk about that film. 18 minutes went by. I went, wow, hang on. It's only supposed to be a capsule. Hold back a little bit. Get this out there. And by this morning, it's had 209 views. Wow. What's so special about that film? I don't know. But to anybody, and I do mean this so sincerely, that watches this blog or watches anything that I do, thank you. You've made a very old man happy by doing that. And I'm sure my nephews and nieces will appreciate it. That I take homage to what Mamemeister said, because I have reached 200 subs, and he put out there saying, well done, matey, well deserved. But try not to think of it too much about the subs. Go forward with what you know and do, and not worry about it. And here's to your next 100. And it is how you have a gut reaction to the first time you read something. You go, whoa, hang on a minute, you've got 4,000 odd subs. Try and remember you going back to your 200 subs, and when your subs suddenly started to escalate, because that's what everybody's told me. They dwelled on nothing, and then something happens and they escalated like mad. And then, of course, subs become less of a thing. I mean, to me, I lose 5 subs and it's a big thing. It drops me down a huge chunk. 5 subs away from 4,000 something, and it's minuscule. But I do take the advice well, because it's not about the subs. It's not about a number or an analytical thing. It's whether you enjoy it or not. But I have to say this. If you were asked to go and do a talk on something and it was supposed to be for 1,000 people and you turned up and only 200 turned up, would you go, is that about me? Is have they not turned up because it's not going to be exciting? Is it the venue? Is it, you know what I mean? So I get up every Sunday to do a blog and I prep on Saturday, and I'm doing it for a certain amount of people that are watching. And you have to think to yourself, I could be in bed resting. I could be playing a game. But I love doing this. And I love you guys. So as far as I'm concerned, it will continue. So we got that out the way, and I'm going to have a little bit of a swig of a drink. I ran out of oranges. Got to buy some today. Jesus. What's going on in my life? This brain, I tell you. So we start off with the news, don't we? Let's get some of this blog going, shall we? The first thing we talk about really is the war in Ukraine. And it all seems to be doom and gloom and all this. I mean, even this one is a slightly better news story if you're pro-Ukraine. There were lots of other stories that I saw, because apparently with Putin winning the political war a couple of weeks ago, he's now recaptured parts of Ukraine, and he's now going around with soldiers, not himself, but his MPs, claiming that this is now Russian ground, and doing local elections in Ukraine, but claiming that they are now Russian territory. Oh, anyway, the news story that I read was Ukrainian sea drones sank the Russian warship Sergei Kostov near the Kerch Strait in occupied Crimea, in a further blow to Moscow's naval power. The sinking gave a boost to Ukraine's morale after recent losses. Yeah, and if you've ever been watching this blog, you'll know it's been loss. And it's nice that they're staying steadfast with the naval side of things. And the naval things is very important, because it means that goods like olive oil, grain, are getting out of that country and coming to us, keeping the prices down. They start losing that, we're back to a bottleneck of not having food coming to us. So that was a happy story. And as you know, when it comes to the UK stories, I'm just reading out headlines, really, that I've noticed this week. I write down the odd thing. So I noticed this week it said, King Charles ramps up charity work by returning to work this week. So, yes, he was pictured with his wife, Camilla, on a charity rally. And there was a note that came out from the royals saying that he was ramping up his duties after taking lots and lots of treatment. What a happy story. That's good. Who wants to hear about cancer winning? So that was quite a nice story. Then there was a news story that surprised me, and I was going, wow, when I saw the pictures. And that was these horses that ran amok through London this week. Apparently they were spooked by a noise from a construction site nearby. They threw their riders and rampaged through London, doing damage to themselves more than anything. I mean, there's one horse that ran straight into a double-decker bus, smashing the whole of the glass for the driver side window. And of course, it was covered in blood as it continued to run through New York, through London. So there was a news article the next couple of days afterwards saying that they had been treated in Horse Hospital. There was no news about at that point whether any of them had died. There was one that was quite badly hurt, and I think that was the one that went into the double-decker bus. So yeah, that was an eye-opener of a story, to know that sort of thing can happen. They're usually quite well trained, these horses, and don't get spooked by anything. I mean, they travel through London all the time. You know, you can imagine all the car horns and bangs and bustle of people. So yeah. And then the last one I saw, which was, I think, in the last day or so, that Labour have vowed that if they win the next election, that they will re-nationalise the railway system within 5 years. So they will make it, they will re-nationalise it again, because rail is always in the news about strikes, pay, increases in fares, disruption to the lines, no infrastructure changes for the good, timetables still shocking, etc., etc. And of course, we privatized it, or should I say, England privatized it, back in the 80s. And they're talking about renationalizing it again, bringing it under government control. Where that money would come from, I don't know. But that was the news, and I hope you like that news. That was great. And we move on to shout-outs, don't we, after I've had a bit of a swig. And you know me, I love shout-outs. This is the bit where you guys have commented, sent me a message, asked me a question. And I love to read out the names, because it's my sort of like gratitude to those people that have left a message for me. So, you know, without ado, these are in no particular order of greatness, but thanks to every single one of you. They are Jambon, Colin Jones, aka Ponder, Ian Hill, The Ramblings, Steve's Gaming, Down the Rabbit Hole, LFC Gamer and Vlogs, David Retro Games Played Badly, Martroid, Wee Bob Art, Seb's Place, James Chavez, Denny, and Doug Scullery. Brilliant! Wow, absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I'm in a bad place, but a good place, in the fact that many people are wishing me nice things, and I you know, sometimes I wish we were all in a pub, and I could just all buy you a pint, and we could all have a chat and talk about any sort of crap that could go along. And, you know, one day maybe something like that could happen. But until that point, you know, I'm just happy for it. And we therefore might as well move on straight away to what some of these comments have been. And like I say, none of these are in any particular order. Just bring my cursor down and just expand these a little bit. Yeah. So the first one that comes up is Jambon. There we go. And it says here, "Hi Del, not sure if I've made the deadline for comment. Sorry, but here goes. Sorry to hear about your health issues. Hope you are hanging on in there, mate. One day at a time. Thank you for another interesting, informative vlog. Particularly enjoyed the game footage in this one. It's good to see what folk have been playing. Planet Crafter does look great, but I think the constantly running out of oxygen might stress me out a bit." I'll tell you what, that game is an eye-opener. I bought it at the same time as Steve, and I'd actually got it a year before, loaded it up, played it for 5 minutes, and then totally uninstalled it because I saw at the time how much of a time-consuming thing it would be, and I didn't have the time. But I wanted to see what it looked like, and I was quite impressed with what I saw. But I still took it off. You know what I mean? Conserve space, that sort of thing. I'm doing other things. And Steve's video came out first. He went, let's do this together, shall we? And let's play. So I saw him going around, scullying around, picking up all this stuff. And then I could hear the cogs grinding as he was chatting about, what do I do with this? What do I do with that? How do you do this? Why am I here? What am I doing? And it intrigued me, and I went, do you know what? I got it. So I better install it and play it myself. And I'm very glad I did. It's been a pretty good game. I'm quite far in it now. I'm at the point now where insects are growing, and we're approaching oxygenization of the whole of the planet, which means I won't need to wear an oxygen suit. Saying that, I'd still need it to go underwater because there are now lakes on my planet. But I think very much what I'm experiencing now is different. So 2 weeks ago, I was excited because I was discovering a new planet. There was all these different areas. Some were desert, some were rocky, etc., etc. And then as the planet terraformed, you get grass growing, moss, flowers, etc. But it was the sort of like going around and discovering things that I was enjoying the most. And I think once you've terraformed the planet, it turns into a crafting game. How can you automate this? How much money can you make here? How much crafting can you do in regards to advanced biology, science, etc., etc. So very much like a game called Factorio, something like that. And from that point of view, it will then dull off for me because I think it was the investigation side, the discovery that I really, really liked. I'm guessing this. I'm still enjoying it, and I haven't found every area of the planet. So there's still a lot for me to discover. But I'm pretty sure that there will be an end, and there will be a finish to this. And from that point of view, the only thing to do is to do it all again, but do it a bit more savvy than you did the first time. It'll be good for muscle memory, because I can't remember the first day playing that game now. So that will be fun. So you continue. I mentioned last week how my computer was playing up. Tried every solution I could find on the internet, but to no avail. Then I remembered ages ago you advised me to save a system restore point for such occasions. That worked a treat, and now I'm up and running. So thank you for saving my bacon. Oh, that was all right. I'm glad I gave a little bit of note. I do remember saying to you this. I said, once you've got your machine to a certain state, you've installed your software, you've downloaded all your patches, turn on the save state for Windows, make a backup point, and then turn it off. You don't want it every time you load a piece of software or install a new piece of software, it creating another save point, because these save points are quite large. So turn it off. And then if anything goes bad, you know that you'll go back to that point and there will be still a lot of patches for you to put back on. But at least you know you're going back to a point where your machine at Windows level was in a good state. And I'm glad it worked for you, matey. Well done. Thank you so much for letting me know that a piece of advice I gave actually was used. The amount of times I say, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Never get an answer, whether it worked or not. I have a question, if that's okay. But please ignore it if you've been asked before. Do you know I reckon you copy and paste that every week. It's the same line. But if you've asked it before, please ignore it. I'll always read it out. I'll always do it. It's not a stupid question. No such thing as stupid questions on this channel. Over the years, have there been any particular casual games that you've sunk a lot of hours into? I'm thinking stuff along the lines of solitaire, mahjong, or maybe match-free type games. Are you a secret Candy Crush addict? Stuff that's relaxing and just lets you turn your brain off. I quite like playing games like that while listening to music or podcasts. Wishing you and your mum all the best. Take care. And I'll pass that on to my mum. And wow, yes, this takes me back. Windows came with little games at some point, and I used to play Minesweeper, but I do remember during Yahoo days when I had a Yahoo chat engine. Then they had a Yahoo game thing, and it had PopCap games on there, and I remember playing Zuma. Oh, and I played that game to death, Zuma, followed by Bejeweled. Oh yeah, Bejeweled. Yeah, I think you're getting the idea here. I love these match-free colour things, and it takes me back to Puzzle Bobble or Bubble Bobble 2 or Buster Move or whatever you want to call it. It's got several names. Another one of these fire-free baubles, and if they're the same colour, they drop off, and you need to clear the screen. Love those games. Don't know why, just love them. Mahjong's another one. You mentioned Mahjong. Love Mahjong. I used to play. The thing I used to like about Mahjong, if you found a good one, you could change the tile set, and I changed them to Marvel characters, film characters, TV characters, that sort of thing, pretty patterns and all of that. The thing that made it difficult when you first play is it's always the default Mahjong, which is with the Chinese symbols. They all look the same to me, and I'm going, wow, you've made it really hard. I'm pretty sure that you'd get used to it, but yeah, I found it extremely difficult playing Mahjong in its traditional sense. What else? Casual games. I think I've mentioned the main ones. I used to like playing backgammon against the computer, if that counts. I was quite good at backgammon, doubling down and all that. That was brilliant. And even when it was in the early days when you used to get a PC with loads and loads of bloatware CDs, I remember putting in, when it was raining, games like Monopoly. Don't know why. Monopoly by against the computer. What? How much of a time waste is that going to be? Right? Playing the computer at Monopoly. Right? And I don't know if it's because I'm going to discover how you cheat. I don't normally think along those lines, but I'm sure it came to mind. I hope I've given a good answer for you, Jambon. I do apologise, I've waffled at the end, but salute to you, sir, and have a great week. I'm so glad everything's working out for you, and I'll be in contact soon because we need to organise going to Birmingham for that pinball thing. That'll be great. Really, really looking forward to that, and I know that would be in this month coming. It's got to be this month coming, so we'll make sure we get something done. We move on to Robert's Retro Gaming. You know what I call him? I call him Gaming Royalty. Let's see what he says today. He says, hello there, Del. I've listened to this week's ramblings in 10 and 15-minute chunks while driving around, and I can't seem to hold any specific topic in mind for long, even if when I'm listening I think, oh, that's interesting, I have something to say about that. The end result is that my comment is not very interesting. I hope you're well. Is that it? I see what you've done there. Uh, yeah. Can't hold things in your brain for too long. Can't think of a comment. Yeah. Brilliant. I'm going to heart that one. There we go. Thank you so much just for watching, to be quite honest. I know you appreciate me watching your channel and reading it out. That's not the point. You know, I do more than just this blog. I'm trying to make it more common that I do something, at least one thing extra each week. And so far they've been very simple capsule reviews. I do realise that that's taken away from gaming stuff. I am going to come back to that. That's not lost. It's still my #1 hobby. So anyway, we'll move on. We then get to Doug Scullery. So my salute to Robert. Not that he needs it. I should be bowing down to him, really. Royalty, isn't it? So we get to Doug Scullery, and he's got, "Hi, Del. Happy Sunday. Hope you're well. Love the Charlton Heston live stream." Oh, you turned up. Thank you, Doug. You probably did. I probably said hello to you during the stream. I'm sorry if I missed you. I can't remember. I was waving to so many people, going, "Oh, look, these people." Anyway, you got 2 questions for me. Here we go. Movies. What do you think of sci-fi and comedy combo movies? For example, Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen. I love them. A bit of gentle Mickey taking always works well. Yes, I'm like you. Love them. Don't do enough of them. Spaceballs, Galaxy Quest, Evolution. I like a parody anyway. Even if you go to horror, there's been Young Frankenstein and so forth. So, yeah, I love them. Can't name too many of them, but Galaxy Quest is a perfect example of something, not taking something too seriously and taking an idea that's been going around for years and years and years, which is fandom, and turning it into a film. And then realizing that actually what you've been watching is actually all real. There is actually a starship and all that sort of stuff. Brilliant. Love that. Why there isn't a Galaxy Quest 2 would have been great, but now with deaths, of certain cast members, you have to look at it and go, yeah, it wouldn't be the same. Or would it? Have a think about that later outside of the blog. You continue. Retro gaming. Back in the day, there were not really such things as Arcade Club in Bury, where you could pay an entrance fee and then play games for hours, all on free play, as much as you like. Maybe get a bite to eat, etc. Do you think such a concept would have worked back then? Would it have been financially viable? Ooh. Now, there's going to be a timeline for this because it wouldn't have worked in the early 80s. You had to have the arcades making money. The money went into that. A small percentage came back. I mean, there was the set. Some of them were rented and some of them were bought. And that money revenue went in to develop further arcade games. But I tell you what, there was a time in the 90s where internet cafes opened up. Now, you had a PC at home, don't get me wrong, and you could communicate on the internet. But people still went into an internet cafe, logged into their account, read their emails, whatever, and then played games or whatever. Now, I think the model would have worked in the 90s, where everything was on free play. The money that you got was from the food and the drink that you served. Because think about it, if you served a Diet Coke and you charged £1.50 for it, say, that's syrup and water and it's carbonated water, and that's it. So it's like Soda Stream. It costs pence to make that, and you charge £1.50. most people that go into an arcade will have a drink or or something to eat, a burger, a packet of crisps, whatever. You get bums on seats, as they say, you know, a person in front of an arcade machine. And then when they finish, they go, oh, I just fancy a drink, and then I'll move to another machine. And if they eat or drink, that'd be great. And then you could hold little competitions, like the choose one machine out of the whole lot in the establishment and set a high score challenge, where you have to pay £5 entrance, and then at the end of the week, the highest score is the one that gets the prize, with a certain percentage going to the owner. Yeah, I think the model would work. It wouldn't have worked in the early days, very early days. No, arcade games were there to take your money. They were hard. You put your money in. You saw how far you got. You either put more money to continue, or you started again to try and beat your high score and see whether with this one coin can you beat your last high score. So that doesn't work with it on free play. Not at all. So yeah, I think there would have been a time about mid-90s that free play and an internet cafe type business model would work. And that's the last of your questions. Thank you so much, Doug. I hope I gave a good answer. I can't remember what they all were now. That's my brain frazzled. Right. And I've just seen the next person's name crop up. And you know what that means? It means I need a drink. And it means that you need to settle back and listen to chapter 1 of Denny. He writes an essay. Just perfect. Right, here we go. From Denny. Hiya, mate. Sorry I've been unable to chat this last week. From the time of our live stream, my voice is completely gone. I'm actually quite poorly still with this virus, and has a horrible side effect trying to clear your throat. You choke on the phlegm, which is quite distressing. Passing on my best wishes to you and your mother with your health issues. It's a bugger getting older, isn't it? Yeah, it is, matey. And honestly, matey, I didn't know it was quite that bad. Best wishes to you. I hope things are getting a little bit better for you. Regarding the war in Ukraine, have you noticed a considerable drop-off of actual footage from the war zone? Yes, I have. But I knew that would happen. This is where I said I'll keep it alive. Bet you any money it turns into a thing in the background. Terrible. You continue. You made me laugh when you said it's better to see you next Wednesday instead of Tuesday. I think relating to the stream you do with Ian, lots of laugh out loud. Yeah. I think is it John Landis? Yeah, John Landis made a film called See You Next Wednesday or something like that. And it was supposed to be a porno, I think. And if you look at the letters, you'll know what See You Next Tuesday means. And it's just been a running gag, I think, to people that are aware of it in the movie chat. You know, it's been around for years. That. So anyway, it's an in-joke, a little Easter egg in a film. So, Prince of Persia on the VIC-20. How amazing is that? Another to add to my list when compiling a video on the best VIC-20 games to the present day. How far can this machine be pushed exactly? This is why I was so happy to see it. I asked a question to Mamemeister yesterday in his waffle. Is there a point? And of course, I knew what the answer would be, but I just wanted to hear his opinion. But yeah, there is a damn good point. It's like, wow, if only we knew everything we knew about these machines back then, what the games would have been like back then. But I also think, would our imaginations been as good as our technical ability is now? Because I tend to find there's less imagination in games now. But so happy when I saw it and I went, wow, that looks amazing. When you consider what the VIC-20 can, is as a device, back then it was considered quite good, you know, highly spec'd really, apart from its memory. But it was surpassed within a year. You know, I mean, it was out and it was old. So yeah, great to see my one of my little first computers doing so well present day. So you continue, like yourself, I had the On the Buses box set arrive. What a wonderful set it is, with a booklet and the artwork on the Blu-ray boxes. At £40 for all the free movies, it wasn't really bad at all. Yeah, I was turning around and talking about the price. It's also the postage. It did, when you total it all up together, come to nearly 50. You might have got it slightly cheaper if you probably ordered it earlier, but it was pretty much $46.99, I think, with the postage. So yeah, free films though, when you consider it, it isn't that bad really. No, I agree with you. Again, I'm in agreement with you on the Aliens picture quality on 4K. Also, a very interesting video by Movie Collector this week reviewing True Liars with a friend, telling you how to get the best picture from the disc. Yes, there's lots and lots of videos now out, all talking about the free James Cameron films, picture quality, and whether it's the death knell of physical media, the death knell of streaming, the death knell of films ever being the way that we remembered them. And I just go, bollocks, what a load of crap. To be quite honest, just atrocious. See last week for the reasons why I think along those lines. Finally, the UK get to buy The Last Starfighter on 4K for £22, though I understand some special bonus features might not be available. I have the USA set, and it's identical to the Blu-ray release. Yes, and I ordered the USA set a week and a half ago, and then they announced this week it's coming out to the UK. So I finally bit the bullet and went, do you know what? I want that film. I mentioned The Last Starfighter in one of the questions, and I went, do you know what? I need to get it. And then whams! See, this is what I'm talking about when I say the Del Boy look. It's like, what? So I've just gone and ordered that. It's still in the post, waiting to come through. And here we are. It's coming out now in June. But hey, that's the way it is, I suppose, a little bit. You continue. Loved your video on Stan and Ollie. A definite contender for a 4K release for sure. Somewhere down the line. Yeah, I said in my my capsule review, it's criminal that film's not on 4K. Don't understand why it's not. Still don't understand why it's not. Go and watch the capsule review, but more importantly, watch that film. It's definitely one that you'll go away thanking me for watching it. I will say that with quite a high confidence level. I'd like to thank Ian for joining us on the Charlton Heston dystopian live stream we did last week. What a wonderful night that was. The Omega Man films on its way to you soon, Ian, once my health improves. Yeah, isn't that nice? They met up, chatted, you know, and now Denny is, who's the most generous, one of the most generous people I've ever known, sending him his old DVD copies because he's got the Blu-ray editions of them. That's what we do, I think, in certain friends circles, you know, like I've done with certain inroads into the film side of stuff that I tried to do. I've sent stuff. It wasn't supposed to be fan mail. It's supposed to be, I don't want this anymore. Don't need this anymore. You can have this. I'd rather that happen than get 50 pence from Kex. You know what I mean? Or cash converters. I'd rather somebody that I know have it. So you continue. A game recommendation this week called Nordic Ashes, which has gone to version 1. Fantastic Vampire Survivors game. A lot of quality content and worthy of your attention. I'll write that down, Denny. In fact, I'll do it now. What's it called? Nordic Ashes. Nordic Ashes. Steam. Okay, you got it, buddy. I'll be looking at that after the blog and after the garden centre. And finally, the news that network label may be coming back, but not the way you think. A new label called Old Gold Media has been formed by Pete Callan, who worked for Fremantle, has got the rights currently to the Thames Library. Quite a few of new titles were former network titles like the Kenny Everett video show, Quatermass, Bless This House, Love Thy Neighbour and George and Mildred. Let's wish them the best, and hopefully sales are good enough to buy the rights to further titles in the coming years. One note of interest, I asked about Sapphire and Steel and about the Blu-ray and restoration, to be told the results were not much better upscaled, probably because it was shot on videotape. Regardless, I'd still like it on Blu-ray, even if it's slightly better picture quality wise. Yeah, I agree. It's bad that you hear a little bit of news, or should I say, the news that you hear wasn't the best, which is, oh, this is exceptional on Blu-ray. Yeah, you definitely got this more along the line of, well, it doesn't look that much better. What you have to understand with this is that not only do you get a picture bump, but usually you get a colour bump and sound bump. It's the combination of them all that gives you the round package of it's worth it. Okay, so yeah, I can upscale my DVD collection, but at the end of the day, I'd rather have it go through a computer and upscale it for me, rather than relying on a piece of equipment that's got a very, very good, powerful chip, but is doing it on the fly rather than being done for everybody. Do you see what I mean? So without even that chip, you see the quality of it. So that's great, yeah. So, question for this week regarding Old Gold Media. Are there any titles you like to see released on the label? You'd like to collect maybe former network discs that are now currently out of print you missed back then. Oh God, I miss so many, matey. I missed the Persuaders, the film and the TV series. Trying to think now. I've got the Quatermass and I've got a lot of the stuff like Man About the House, George and Mildred, all of that. But I'm sure the stuff that's there, that's now out of print, you know, something like Armchair Thriller or something like that, that is very difficult to get now, that I'd love to have. I did notice out of the collections that are in there, Jack the Ripper is there in Blu-ray and DVD format. I will definitely pick up the Blu-ray of that when that comes out. Brilliant. Rock God goes on about that no end. And I told him I don't have it. So that'd be one I'd pick up. It would be the Blu-ray edition. And it looks like that's happening in the next couple of months. So I'm looking forward to that. It was the Michael Caine version. So yeah, I think there'll probably be a lot of things there. You see, I'm not one of these people that have a fond memory of, say, like upstairs and downstairs and things like that. But I am pleased for people that they get that. It was nice to see that one of the big ones that they're bringing back is World at War. I think I remember that being a huge box set when it was on VHS. And now to have it condensed into the DVDs. It came out and then went out of print, and then trying to find it, scalpers get you every time. So, yeah, not the best of answer for you, matey. Because, like I say, I've got things like Man in a Suitcase, Danger Man, The Saint. So I've got an awful lot. I did manage to prize a few things. Do you know what I mean? But I think there's possibly some children's stuff, Time Slip. You know, because I bought things like Into the Labyrinth and Children of the Stones and things like that. It'd be really nice to see the ghosts of... Was it Ghosts of something Manor? Forgotten what the bloody word is. You're going to castrate me when it be as I can't remember what that was. Chantley Hall? Oh, I can't remember. Oh, for God's sake. I'm not going to look it up. This is a use your brain only. So, yeah. Ghosts of Motley Hall. Sure, something like that. Thank you very much. And I'll pass on my messages to my mum. Salute to you, sir. Get better soon, please. Keep me in the loop with how you're getting on, buddy. Thanks very much. I worry about you a little bit. Then we get to Ian Hill, The Ramblings. It's another chapter and verse. Let's see if we can speed this up a little bit because I think we're up to the hour now. Thank you for your blog. Always look forward to it. Health issues are not always easy to talk about, but speaking from my own experiences, I think it's a good thing to do. A lot of your friends and followers will totally understand, and it may even help them in their struggles too. The more open we are, I think it can help our mental health too. Keeping things bottled up inside is not a good way to live. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I did this. I wanted my blog to be a warts and all. The ability to see how person's demeanor changes based on them feeling good or bad, sort of like a little mini experiment. And you can see it even in the pictures. Every single one of my blogs is a picture of me on that day holding up something. But you can see whether I'm shaven, unshaven, my hair's grown long, whether I've worried or cared about what I'm wearing, etc., etc. So you can see my life in a series of static shots. I was pleased you did another film review, and your choice of Stan and Laurie was perfect for you. Very informative. Hope everyone enjoys it as much as I did. Seems they are, matey. That's amazing. But I will say this: even the one before that has now risen to 150 views. 209 in 3 days. I was ecstatic. I'll tell you what, that so boosted me. It was unbelievable. You continue. Thank you for joining me on my live stream again. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Another 3.5 hours. The time just flew by and we had some good laughs too. Haha. Hope your mum enjoyed my Amos Braley impression. Yeah, my mum asked for you to do an Amos Braley impression from Emmerdale. In fact, I can't say Amos Braley without putting on an accent. Amos. Anyway, Mr. Wilkes. My mum loved it. Thank you so much. I did show it to her. It was nice of you and Denny to invite me on your stream about dystopian movies of Charlton Heston. I did get Soylent Green for my collection and did a review of it too. Totally enjoy watching you and Denny. You work well together. I think we do. I think the reason for it is we've both got a passion for it, but I said right at the beginning, Denny, I'm going to shut up when you're talking. I want you to get to the end of what you want to talk about in that section, and then I'll come in with my own answer. I don't want to but interrupt type thing, and because I'm controlling the stream, I'll make sure that works. And I think that on the I mean, obviously behavioral things mean that you know that you sometimes break your own rule, but I think it works. And we have a blast. If it wasn't fun, wouldn't be doing it. And you and I have got to sit down and talk about when the next one is and what the subject will be. I've just watched North by Northwest for the very first time. It's easy to see why it's considered one of the all-time great films. I hope the review I've done will capture how I felt watching it. I hope so too. I'm very intrigued to know what you think as one of my top films. And I say that and I go, that film, whenever it's on, I sit down and watch it. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'll stop and watch it. It's a brilliant film. I don't know what it is. It's very hard after watching it so many times. What quite captivates me. Obviously, the music score does. I think it's one of those perfect marriages of visuals and sound in that film. But of course, if you don't like the music, then you're not going to like the film as much. It's just hypnotic to watch. It's just great. So my question this week is about a Yorkshire man born in Huddersfield who was in that Hitchcock classic. He was in North by Northwest. Okay. Name your top 5 James Mason films. Oh, wow. Best wishes and have a great grand time. Actually, Denny's answered you. He's put here, I wish I was answering your question this week, Ian. Wonder if Del will name the 2 I would choose. And then Ian's answered that. I'll be very interested to see if he includes my favourite. Oh my God, no pressure then. Right, clear your brain. Right. Yes. I bought a steelbook in the last 8 weeks. Cross of Iron. Got James Mason in. Was impressed by that film. Didn't think I was going to be. Very impressed. That would be one film I would recommend. Journey to the Centre of the Earth. You know how much I love these kooky Victorian fantasy type films. He's got that voice that makes me go, I've got to listen to what you're saying. You sound important. Do you know what I mean? He's got one of those voices. I can't do James Mason. Frasier can. How can I miss? He's not in it for very long, and it won't be included in any top of this actor list. But Salem's Lot, where he sort of paves the way for the vampires to come back to the Mason house. So yeah, Salem's Lot. Oh, an old Disney one, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, with, is it Kirk Douglas? Yeah, 50s. The Nautilus. Yeah, how can you not have 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea as one of the top James Mason films? Unless I'm missing something. North by Northwest. Gotta have North by Northwest. That's got to be 5, hasn't it? Yes. There's a lot more. Oh my God, there'll be so many more. He's done a lot of war films. He's done a lot of what I call dramas. I think he did one, which was set in a courtroom. Can't remember what it's called though. It's not 12 Angry Men. It's one where he takes on a case. I'm sure it's a courtroom drama. I'm not sure. I'll skip past it because it'll take it too long while I'm thinking about it, and I'm never going to remember it. Hope that answers your question, Ian. Looking forward to this Wednesday as always. If you're having me on, I hope so. Salute, my friend. Thank you so much. And I've just read the next one, and it fills me with dread. I need a drink. In fact, I need alcohol in this drink for the name that's just come up. And if I was to do this, you're just too damn good, you bastard. Here's my salute to you. I think you'll probably know who I'm talking about. Yeah, it's Steve's Gaming. My mate Steve. Brilliant. I wonder what he's going to say. You know, I have to look at it and go, have I got to censor this? And I wonder if I'm going to be kicked off of YouTube. Not really. Hi, Del. Great blog as usual. I really don't know what to say about your health issues. I can just say I truly wish you all the best in the world and hope this is all resolved soon in a good way. Best of luck, mate. I also will say that it's time you did another gaming video. How about Planet Crafter? I'd love to see how far you've come. I know you're miles ahead of me. I'm so slow. Ha ha. Oh, by the way, thank you for saying those very kind things about me last time. I really appreciate it, and you almost had me in tears, you soft old bastard. Planet Crafter. It is about time I did a live game stream. I did like doing them, but I didn't. Not many people ever tuned in, and on rewatch, they're not particularly interesting. I thought the numbers certainly clarify that, but doing a Planet Crafter when you're doing it doesn't seem right, and it's why I keep saying, "Oh, you need to invite me in on your game." You know what I mean? But that hasn't happened yet. Don't know why. But I totally understand if you want to learn it yourself, you don't want me involved. You can always create a new game and still go back to your old one. I just think it'd be nice collaborating. I could just see the arguments now. We're going to build it over here, Steve. No, we're bloody well not. We're building it over here, you bastard. Get over here. What? What's all that about? No, come on, come over here. This is where all the elements and all the minerals and things are. Yeah, right. You know, don't you, Steve? How far have you got? Yeah, I can imagine the conversations now. I think it'd be hilarious. Robert wanted us to do it. Take it like that. That's how much, right? So, right now I have two questions to throw at you. One is film based and one gaming. Oh, that's good. Nice balance. Question 1. Have you seen the 1937 film Old Mr. Porter? I believe it was Will Hay's first film. What's your opinion on it and on Will Hay? Did you find him amusing or not? Oh, wow. Will Hay was one of those films where I can't remember the first time I saw him. But there must have been a film that really, really took my fancy, because during the early 80s, Cannon and Ball did a film called The Boys in Blue. And it was their first cinema film. It was by the way, it's an atrocious film. Bloody awful, right? It's got Susan Dundow in it, Roy Kinnear. The tune's not bad, the main song, but then again, I always thought Cannon and Ball did the best, one of the best theme tunes to their show, other than Morecambe and Wise. Morecambe and Wise had the best one, Bring Me Sunshine. But, Together We'll Be Okay is a brilliant song. Always makes me cry when I listen to it now, knowing that Bobby Ball's gone. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. Boys in Blue is a homage to Ask a Policeman. And Ask a Policeman is a Will Hay film. So I have seen a number of Will Hay films, but I can only name 3. And one of them you've answered, which is Old Mr. Porter. So you got Ask a Policeman, and then you've got Windbag the Sailor. Yeah, where he's on a ship. And that's it, really, that I can say about Will Hay. Did I like him? Did I not like him? If I've seen several of his films, I must have liked him. Otherwise, I'd have just gone there, not watching that crap. I mean, he wasn't up there with, I've mentioned this actually in a stream the other day, and I got poo-pooed for it. I like Normal Wisdom. I think Normal Wisdom films make me laugh. They're good. I mentioned that several months ago in a film stream, and I got slaughtered. What, that bastard? Useless, not funny, etc., etc. I don't know. It's comedy is one of those things that can go either way. Norman Wisdom, to me, I'll always have a nostalgic side to him, because he had that ability to be bittersweet. You know what I mean? The bitterness is the bit where there's always something happening to somebody in the film that makes you cry, like a girl with who won't talk anymore is in hospital. Nobody visits her. Her mum and dad might have died or something. And Pitkin, who Norman's character was, would come in and visit, and they'd get a bond, and then chaos will occur. There'll always be something like that in a Norman Wisdom film. Of course, he had a great voice as well. So yeah, Will Hay, we'll leave it there, because we got question 2. Classic text-based games like Dictator, Millionaire, Minder, Alter Ego, etc. Well, I recognise Minder and Alter Ego. What text-only games did you enjoy the most? And I'm not counting text adventure games here. Take care, mate. All the best for your health, and love to your mum. Right, so we're not talking about Scott Adams and text adventures like Terra Melinos and all of that. And we're not talking scum games like Maniac Mansion, Day of the Tentacle. But we are talking about a type of text game like Minder and Alter Ego. That narrows it down, matey. Bloody hell. I suppose Little Computer People could be classed, but that would be a little bit out there. I mentioned last week Fourth Protocol. Now, that was based on the book. Never understood it. Used icons a bit like Alter Ego. And there were filing cabinets, and you picked up stories. And there was another one called Hacker, where you were a hacker and you had to hack this thing, and you got slowly further forward and by going into files and all of that sort of stuff. That was a text-heavy game. Right. There was a series of adventures, and I don't know who did it, but there was one called Borrowed Time. Very heavy text, graphics at the top, but he used a menu at the top, a bit like the Pawn and by Magnetic Fields. And there was a brilliant one. Uninvited. The Uninvited, yes. That used a Mac interface, and it was one of the games I bought for the Amiga. Very, very early Amiga game called The Uninvited. You saw a picture, you moved your mouse around, and you clicked on things. You could take things and put them into your inventory. And there was only a small amount of text describing what the scene looked like. You really had no idea on what you were doing. It came in a hardback book. The Uninvited. I remember it's a white book with a hard spine, sewn binding. The disc was inserted, in the inside cover. Yeah, credible. What a nice nostalgic thing to think about. The Uninvited. I wonder if they've rewritten that. Wow, haven't thought about that game in ages. They did a follow-up, Deja Vu. Deja Vu, yeah. Uninvited, Deja Vu. Yeah. Oh, I love those. Had sound effects as well. Like, you'd go from one place to another, and then suddenly you'd hear a clap of thunder. You go, what was that? What did I do? Yeah. Take care, mate. All the best. Thank you so much, Steve. I hope that answers you. What nice memories. You're still a fucking bastard, though. And so loving your streams at the moment. You're not dying enough. Run out of oxygen more, matey. You've got to keep the smiles coming. Get that invite to me. Thank you. Salute to you, sir. Then we get to Down the Rabbit Hole. Down the Rabbit Hole. Let's see. Really sorry to hear about all your health scares, Dal. In the past couple of years, I've experienced a few eye-opening moments myself, and it can be very sobering. I'd just like to say how much I appreciate and enjoy these vlogs of yours. Oh, that's so nice. I think you've said it before, but that's actually caught up with me, what you just said there. I'd just like to say how much I appreciate and enjoy these vlogs. Your style of presentation is something unique and gives me great pleasure to watch week in, week out. I can't quite put my finger on it, but for example, each time you mention the war, I'm instantly transported back to Cheshire in 1988 watching Dad's Army. Something in your voice always resonates with me and makes me miss living in the UK. Oh, what? I don't know quite how to take this. Thank you so much. I always thought when I say during the war, it's all like Uncle Albert and only fools and horses. During the war. But wow, haven't really thought about it, but thank you. I don't get much feedback, you see. I get the comments and the questions and all that, but not too much feedback like, oh, you could do this way or that way or whatever. But hearing something that I did right is just equally as nice. Brilliant. I may now get a chance to comment every week, but I'm now just letting you know your insights and experiences are appreciated over on this side of the pond. Oh, thank you. No, thank you so much. Like I say, I promote your channel because I watched your channel. I don't go around looking for a channel to promote for promotion reasons. I read out a channel's stuff if I've watched it. And if I haven't watched it, then you're not mentioned. It's as simple as that. And it's supposed to be, well, if he liked it, I wonder if I'd like it type thing to put into people's memories or minds. So if it's got you some subscribers, brilliant. If it's raised your position, brilliant. If it's just made you happy, brilliant. It's my pleasure because you do some such terrific stuff. I wish I was in your head sometimes. My God. Keep soldiering forward, and I hope your spirits remain strong. Trying, matey. That's definitely helped. Don't know if you can hear it in my voice. Salute to you, sir. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Colin Jones, here we go. We all know Colin. Got his own channel. Brilliant. Please go and look. He does a blog as well. He does high score challenges. He's too good at his games, though. His network knowledge is... I'm only joking. It's as good as mine. Better, probably. I won't admit it. You know, I've been... you don't become an asset manager and a network technician and a system tester in the IT field for 35 years without knowing a few things. Take it like this. But anyway, he mentions, fingers crossed they can get to the root of your health issues without getting you all worked up in the process. Yeah, well, that's the thing that happens is every time you go into a place and you know you're going to have your blood pressure checked, you think to yourself, why bother? I'm already stressed just thinking about it. So it is difficult. Vision and hearing do deteriorate with age, but that rarely means total blindness or deafness. True. But we were talking about, I think what you're talking about there, Colin, was as much as we keep moving with 4K, 8K, 16K TVs, my eyesight's deteriorating. So it's not going to be, it's going to be great for people with 20/20 vision. Not so much for me. You can keep raising it as much as you want. It'll probably look as good as the last generation of TVs from my eyesight. Glad to have brought back memories of the test broadcast. Oh, you did. You bastard with that. That was brilliant. What a work of genius to think about bringing that in as a conversation to me. Yeah. Did I call you a genius then? No, forget that. Scrub it. Go back 30 seconds and take the word out. The weekend at Bury was most enjoyable. Yes, you did a blog from your room And my questions didn't get asked out. I was most disgruntled. There I was, taking my time out to have a little look, and did anything happen? Nah. Buggier, that's all I got to say. No, glad you had a great time. Yeah. Talking of computer games to the arcade, I played Iridium on an arcade cabinet at Arcade Club. The levels were different, but it's the same game as the C64. But that's not a bad thing, is it? I mean, it had arcade scrolling in it. Jesus, that thing shifts. I was a bit surprised actually when the Amiga version came out that they didn't do more with it than just a graphic overhaul. There is a few little bits of ideas, but you'd think to yourself, you've got the power of this machine. Can't you put the power of imagination into your brain to come out with the same thing, but more? Rather than its graphical finesse? Yeah, Paradroid would have been another one, wouldn't it? They did do that, but it didn't really add much. My question, at our Arcade Club this weekend, I saw a game called Space Tactics, which is emulated, but emulation really doesn't do it justice. What arcade game do you remember that are emulated, but due to the lack of a proper additional hardware, custom controls, etc., emulate badly? Yeah, the controller was the thing, wasn't it? What was that game that you were on a bike and you went over hills and you had to pull back on the hand? Oh, Enduro Racer. Yeah. You play that on a Commodore 64, even a Spectrum. You get the game, but you don't get that feeling of you're riding along and you got to pull back and then ride along and then pull back like this. There was something about that feeling of it's like Outrun with the gear stick. Like, oh, well, I'm actually in control of the car rather than pressing a button to change gear to high and low and all of that sort of stuff. And so, obviously, Paperboy comes to mind, but Paperboy's not one of my favourite games. I didn't like it in the arcades much. That had handlebars. That would have added to it. Monkey Ball had a banana controller. Tron had a pistol grip controller. Battlezone had the visor with the two tank control sticks. There's a number. There's one that definitely doesn't work, and that's one of the skiing ones. What was it called? Sega Super G skiing. You actually had to get into the skis and twist your body, and you actually had to move on the skis to make it so that you were going downhill fast. And I think even Super Hang On had a bike and you tilted it. And if I remember rightly, you were in a video once where you were in a horse racing one and you had to juggle the horse to make it go faster to win. Those all would not emulate well. They don't emulate well. You get the game, but you don't get what made it fun, I think, because the controller was part of the fun. Dance Dance Revolution, I suppose, don't really work in our homes because the pad that you have to have on the floor is plastic, not tactile, not they break or you slide on them or whatever. Don't work, do they? So yeah. Oh, well, I hope that answers your question, Colin. Absolute salute to you. Can't wait for your channel when you put on your high score stuff. Brilliant. We move onwards. A salute to you, to LFC Gamer and Vlogs, who just recently has come back doing his vlogs again, which I mentioned last week. And he's come back and he said, great blog as ever, Dow. Shame Coventry missed out in their first FA Cup final in 37 years. Yeah, and I was at that one. Wouldn't it have been great if I could have bookended by being able to go to that game? Oh, I went to both FA Cup finals at Coventry. But anyway, VAR interfered. The fourth goal was disallowed, and that goal came 1 minute into extra time. It went to penalties, and que sera, sera. I think if you ask anybody, Coventry deserved that game. I certainly didn't think Coventry would get anywhere near, drawing with them, let alone winning. And obviously that came about with the first half when they were 3-0 down. But then to come to 3-all, wow. You should have seen how excited and elevated I was watching it on telly. It was so great. What a great afternoon as well, because it went on for hours. Obviously you've got the full game, then you got the extra time, then you got the penalties. So that was a Sunday afternoon and a half, to be quite honest. Loved it. Yeah, it is what it is. As for large periods of that game, they were far better than United, so glad you agree with me. If anything, the Sky Blues played more like a Premiership side. Mark Robins must be very proud of their incredible journey, but penalty shootouts are so cruel, especially when United have been atrocious this season compared to previous. City will for sure rip them a new one. Yeah, that's the only... You see, I looked at it and I went, it's going to be a Manchester derby. Bound sure to be, though, because I thought Manchester United beat Coventry. I didn't think Chelsea would beat Manchester City. So I said to my mother, I said, it's going to be a boring Manchester derby. And I call it boring because how many times have we seen these two go together? It's like the Oxford boat race, Oxford-Cambridge boat race. It's just not... The two Manchester teams have to come down to London to play one game. Might as well have had it up there, for all I care. Anyway, that's sour grapes, I suppose, from me a little bit. So you continue. Such an array of Blu-rays this week. Love on the buses, both the show and the films. But wasn't all that keen with Holiday on the buses. They didn't find it anywhere near as fun as the other two. I know it was filmed at the Pontins in Prestatyn, which of course the company has now gone bust. But apart from the scenery, it didn't leave much of an impression, not to me at least. And I've been to Prestatyn and I know exactly where that is because I've seen it myself. It's a shame it's gone bust. I didn't actually know it had gone bust. I just assumed, actually. It's been that long. But yeah. I was running on empty with questions for you the last few weeks, but alas, I've got a few prepared this time round. On the 20th of April 1994, which will be last week by the time you read this, Frasier aired for the first time on UK television on Channel 4. My question is, if there is one thing you could have changed in the show if you were in charge, what changes would you have personally made? E.g., Frasier possibly got married again, or if Maris made an appearance. Ooh. It's a good question, but it's a difficult one. And the reason it's a difficult one is I nearly thought of Frasier as being the perfect sitcom. It had just about everything in it. There are episodes that you don't like, not so funny, but you just love the characters in it. So just by seeing the characters on screen, they made you smile. I think if I was in charge, the only thing that I would have done differently, I think I would have altered Roz's storyline. I find it amusing that they left her a single mother, not needing a bloke or a gentleman in her life, because I don't look at men as being a controlling influence, and I do think that the daughter would have benefited by having a father figure. And the other thing is it leaves an emptiness in it, because she's a strong woman, but she doesn't need to be strong by being alone. Why couldn't she have found love? At the end, there was hope with Frasier, because in the last episode of that 11 seasons, he got on a plane with optimism that things were going to change. Because all the way through the 11 seasons, we saw him dating and dating and dating and dating. getting close to something, but always something about himself ruined it all. So that's a storyline. But to have Frasier a man-eater, have Roz a man-eater, and then got pregnant, had a child, and decided that's it in regards to men in her life. Yeah. I think I'd have just done that, matey, because as far as I'm concerned, the series is stunning. It is on Blu-ray, by the way, in the States. I will get the British one at some point. In fact, I need to make a note of that. 2, are there any games that you thought had much better music on the Spectrum than its C64 version? 2 that spring into my mind is that Chubby Gristle by the late Ben Dalglish, and the other, which is my all-time favourite piece of music for the Specky, is Beyond the Ice Palace, from the legend that is Dave Whittaker. Now, you're asking the wrong person here, because I had a Spectrum for such a short period of time. I knew that the Spectrum, when it got its 1 to 8K version, that they put a YM chip in there. But I never really listened. I knew that Rob Hubbard tunes and David Whittaker tunes and everything all ported across. But it was very much like, just because you've got that chip in it doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to be better than the C64 version. And that, to me, the C64 version was prevalent. So I never really listened to those particular versions. A perfect example would be Glider Rider on the C64, that tune. Spectrum version, I think that came out on 2 versions, didn't it? A 48K and a 128K one. I don't think I even listened to the 128K version Spectrum. I heard the 48K one and went, yeah. But of course, Glider Rider is the quintessential best version on the Spectrum, because it's that type of game where it draws the screen quickly. It doesn't work on the C64 so much, because it looks bland, and B, it can't draw those isometrics as fast as a Spectrum can with its Z80 clocked chip. You know, it's much faster chip. So yeah, they did it. They did their best they could. But the C64 SID chip just blew me away. And I listened to Amstrad tunes, and some of them sound awful. And I just went to myself, I don't need to listen to these. I know that the C64 is still better than those two machines put together. So I can't really answer that one, sorry. And I will end up there with that, because I don't want to go down the line of, oh yeah, I've just thought of one. You know, when it would be not a lie, but I just don't have enough background on the Spectrum, ownership wise and playing game wise, because the games that I play are like Trash Man, Manic Miner, Jet Set Willy, you know, those sorts of games from that period rather than later on. I mean, even the Ultimate games, you know, Night Law and all of those sort of things are before really the Plus chip, you know, the Plus editions and the sound chip changed. I heard Cobra was good. Don't know, can't remember. Question 3, bloody hell. What was the last video you can remember watching on YouTube that made you shake your head in disbelief, disgust, or even anger? I think I've already mentioned it, matey. I can't help it because they crop up in my alerts on YouTube all the time. And that's these reaction videos. They can be hugely entertaining, don't get me wrong. But I'm sick of them. They crop up. Some bloke who believes he's 25 years old, wants you to like and subscribe, join his Patreon, with a serious smug face, can actually turn to the camera and say, today is going to be a first time listen. I'm going to listen to somebody called Elvis for the first time, and then you're going to see me react to it. You are. You're 25 and you've never heard Elvis. Bollocks. You're all liars. Oh, this is first time listener to the Beatles. Yeah, rubbish. I really say that with seriousness in my face. It's like I'm supposed to believe, you're 25 or 30 years old and you've never heard of the Beatles or heard a song by the Beatles or, they're rubbish. Bollocks to a lot of you on that. Don't lie to me. And I'm probably going to get scolded for saying that. But I do truly believe it. It's very, very difficult that you haven't heard of Elvis. Christ, they've used his songs in adverts, for God's sake. And I'm not talking, yeah, but you don't live in America, do you? You don't know what our advertising. I know what your advertising is like. And you have used music in your adverts, and they have been music in the charts. Carpenter's numbers, Elvis numbers, all sorts. Yes, you have. So, yeah. It's like going through life and saying, here's my reaction face, that there actually was a World War II. Was there? Oh my God, there was World War II. I look out the window and I can't believe it. When was that? Bollocks. To that. Right. Thank you so much, NFC. Actually, you made me smile at that. I'll probably look back at that and cringe. But, oh my God. David's Retro Games. Salute to you. Sorry, LFC. David's Retro Games played badly. What's he got to say? Keeping me company on a miserable night shift. I'm so glad I do that. I hope everything goes well for you today at the clinic. It happened to be the Tuesday. Thank you so much, though, matey. I'm glad that you were thinking about me. Watched June 2 last week. Enjoyed it. A lot better than the first one. I think so as well. I wouldn't say a lot better, but it certainly dovetails really well. And the second one is better than the first. I would totally agree with that. It was a shame about the disallowed offside goal. Yeah, you're talking about Coventry. Yeah. How much of an inch were they out? Oh, sod it anyway. Hopefully make the live stream tonight. That's the dystopian one. I hope you did as well. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm watching Fallout, the TV series. A couple of episodes left. Really enjoying it. Got to get round to that. How could I not have seen it yet? But I'm so far behind with things. Planet Crafter looks interesting. Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's addictive, that game. As ever, great trailers. Take care, mate. Take care. Thank you, matey. No, always good to hear from you. I love your channel. I like seeing you get pissed, though. Definitely, if you've not heard already, most of these have got channels. So David's Retro Games played badly. Go over, sub. LFC, gaming, vlogs and gaming. Go over, subscribe. Steve's Gaming. Go over. You get the message. A lot of these have got their own channel, and thank you so much for looking at mine. I can only aspire to be as good as your channels, David and Denny and so forth. So we get to Martroid. I know that most like to have a go at these Resident Evil movies, but I've always had a soft spot for them. Nice set. I have the first 5 on Blu-ray, but never got round to getting the last one. We have to rectify that at some stage, I suppose. And wow, that Planet Crafter looks good. A little bit like what they were trying to do back in the day with Coronis Rift. Oh, Coronis Rift. Yeah, I tell you what, that's pretty damn close. Yeah, Coronis Rift. It probably is. Yeah. You're not far off that, Martroid. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you all, everybody that watches. But week by week, Martroid comes back and he always makes me smile. He just has to put one line. It's all that matters to me. Brilliant. We then get to Wee Bob Art. Salute, by the way, to you, Martroid. Wee Bob Art. Enjoyed watching along, Dell. I will probably pick up the 4K version of Aliens, but I need to get a 4K player in the future. Hope all goes well with the ECG and the results. I think you put it quite well when you talked about a wonderful life and how our lives or lack thereof might affect those people who know us. When we are in those dark places, we certainly lose that clarity. All the best for your tests. Thank you so much. Love, by the way, Bob Art does a great channel. He does these drawings, digital drawings. Wish I was as talented as him. But he introduced me to a piece of software called Rebella. Brilliant. I've only had a couple of goes on it, but I can certainly see how strong a product that is. Question for next week would be portraits. Can you think of some artwork portrait or a face that you just love or have some affinity for? Best example of a piece of artwork portrait that I can think of is Zap or Crash magazines, where the front cover was a woman licking on an ice lolly, and it was for the PGA game, as the guys playing golf was reflected in her glasses. Such a powerful piece of art with a unique view of the world. Obviously, as a kid, that woman was rather lovely looking. Do you have a similar piece that you would love as a portrait piece? And I know the one you're talking about. I think actually it was a portrait of a looking upwards at her slightly at that angle, if I remember rightly. But yeah, you've caught me on the hop here. I tell you what I do look for. Muhammad Ali is one of those iconic characters from my past. And it's not his drawings that I look for, but I look for drawings other artists have done of Muhammad Ali. Because he's had so many photographs taken of him that to do a drawing of that, him standing over Sonny Liston or whatever, they do it lovely with these thick, broad strokes, paint strokes, or with oils or whatever. So Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston on a painted canvas is one that I do look out for. Or George Foreman, or just Muhammad Ali's face, to be quite honest. He had a definitely distinctive face. So yeah, there's that. There's a cartoon version of Stan Lee, which is iconic. You won't know this one, Bob Art, but basically they put Stan Lee's just head on, and you've got his mustache, his his eyes and mouth and so forth. But they split up his whole face into not quarters, like 16ths, and they do different Marvel heroes and villains. Enough of a pie part that you can recognise that's Captain America's A symbol, or Thor's ears, with the wings coming out, or Spider-Man's web motif, etc., etc. And it's a beautiful piece. I don't know who. I think it was George Perez who did that picture. It's a trading card. If I can, I'll try and dig that out and show it next week. Brilliant picture, Not the best of answers to you, Bob Art, but I hope that gives you some indication. And we're down to the last two comments. We got Seb's Place. Salute to you, Bob Art. Sorry, thank you. So Seb's Place. He says, this made me smile, Down. Maybe you are right for once. For once? Hang on a minute. I'm putting letters in the SNES videos. These never do well for me, but enjoying doing them. And since changing the thumbnails, views are up. Cheers, mate. Oh my God, I helped somebody get more views by just saying put the bloody letters in. What do you mean for once? Bastard. Hope that makes you smile. And then the last one is James Chavez. Don't know this one. He's put, we need not have anxiety over heart issues, just to keep monitored. Be cardiologists, then take the pill they prescribed yourself. Has yet to achieve hair colour change, so you got much time. I think I get the gist, James. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you didn't mind me reading out your comment. If I destroyed it, apologies. I think I get what you mean. Don't be too upset about what the doctors are telling you. You're being looked at. Take the prescriptions that they're giving you. They might improve your life. And try not to worry. Yeah, nice sentiments to have. And that does all of the shout outs. And I'm just going to go and check on my mother. We'll then do the watched on YouTube and get to the trailers. So I'm going to do a jump cut here and be back in a moment. It will seem like seconds for you. See you in a minute. And then we come to watched on YouTube. So I watched a little bit this week, a bit more than normal. And we start off with the two that I always watch, which is This Week in Retro and Tecmo. So This Week in Retro, they did an article on the Z80 stops production. Is it dead? They questioned. And then there was one that was called, Whoa, slow down there, technology. I think that was because they did an article where most people like to now put the effort in and do more analog stuff. Things like examples they gave were, if you do photography, it's nice that you can get digital, but some people like to actually expose those to proper film and develop the films themselves using the proper chemicals. Some people like to play with synthesizers and dials rather than keyboards where they've got the inbuilt ones in, all of that sort of stuff. And I agree to an extent. And then Inkjet Fury. Now, they mentioned this because this week LGR did a video where he bought a printer, and it was the worst decision ever made. It was a 20-year-old printer, and it was just atrocious trying to get this thing to work and so forth. But I don't believe it was an inkjet. I think it was a bubble jet. I can't quite remember, but I actually watched that video. So they reported something that I was going to report on as well. Tecmo, he did the Sony S2 range, the oft overlooked 2000 sports audio Redux. So he showed off the full range of these S2 devices. They were Walkmans, cassette, mini disc, CD, radio, even a ghetto blaster, all in the S2 range. Their features, and they're dead now. But it's amazing that it was only in the 2000s that they were around. And it was nice to look back at them. I remember them quite vividly, people putting armbands on and listening to radios and all sorts of stuff. So that was quite good. Trev Icon, not a friend, not somebody who I chat to very often, but I do get to chat to him on when I'm watching 20th Century Gaming. He did an update because he's doing some work on Impossible Mission 3 for the Commodore 64. And it's coming along really well. So he did a little video and I watched that and I had great fun watching that. And then there was a great big documentary from Kim Justice this week about Codemasters. Obviously, I watched quite vividly that one because David and Richard Darling came from a small village and town literally 20 miles away, and they opened up their Codemasters empire in Banbury. So it's sort of like very close by, and I went for a job interview with them when I was still at school. Didn't get the job, but I remember the interview really well and meeting David and Richard Darling. So that was good. Then I saw my mate Vince. He's one of these people that fixes things, so they're not for everybody. It's, it's for those people that want to see how simple it is or how simple they can make it to repair electrical stuff rather than chuck it out. He fixed an old TV in a similar style to what I had when I was a kiddie. He had a little 5-inch black and white TV that had an inbuilt radio in it. It was called what did he call it? The Crown Portable TV Radio. Yeah, and he tried to fix it. And of course, if you've ever taken one of those things apart, they've got cafe ray tubes in them, CRT TVs, so you can get a nasty shock from them. But it uses all of the old cafe road, capacitors and resistors on them. So it was really good to see those old boards inside those things, and what the technology was like around those late 70s, early 80s. Brilliant. Then Denny sent me a link about Prince of Persia on the VIC-20. It was from Viper's Retro Game Videos. And oh my God, to see Prince of Persia playing on a VIC-20 really made my day, made me smile. I'm going to have to look up that game. You do need a sizable RAM expansion, but not totally out of what you couldn't get it during that period of time. And then, of course, I've already mentioned LGR, who did I bought a 20-year-old printer and regretted it, is what the actual episode was called. And yeah, bubble jets, what a thing. I remember those. And it's just fun to watch because the frustration that goes on for LGR in that, amazing. And I'll just mention a couple of my friends. Rock God 2004, nice guy, totally brilliant guy. We're not on the same channel in regards to what we watch as films. He likes his horrors, hates listening about anybody talking about science fiction, Marvel characters, and I totally get that. Each to their own. We all have to be different. But we're on the same wavelength when it comes to years, nostalgia, what we watched, our education. He's highly educated on the horror. I'm highly educated on a number of other areas of Hollywood that don't get mentioned too much at the moment, like comedies and so forth. So what did he do this week? Well, he had a friend pick up some records for him on Record Day, because Record Day has just gone. It's where all the independent record days have an actual day, and they have special records that you can pick up that day. Brilliant. We have one on for comics. There's Comic Book Day. It's actually, though, called Free Comic Book Day. You actually go into any of your comic book stores, and there are 20 or so comics from all different companies, Marvel, DC, Image, and you can go in there and you can take away a couple of comics. You can't take one of each. I think they limit it to you can take 3 or 4 different ones. Always great to have a day like that which celebrates your hobby. Brilliant. He did an unboxing of a Section 3 video nasty on Blu-ray. That was brilliant. And he bought a shirt, a t-shirt, a long armed one, with a design that he really loved, which was from I think it was My Bloody Valentine, if I remember rightly, or Happy Birthday to Me. Can't remember. But this particular company makes all sizes. It's great to know that there are outlets out there that cater for thin, fat, all sorts of different people, and do such lovely designs. I used to buy an awful lot of t-shirts. I still wear them, and it's great that he got his t-shirt. So my salute to Rock God. Miss having our chats, matey. Keep doing all the stuff that you do on your channel. You make me laugh so much. I can't tell you the joy of seeing you smile and make other people happy. You do a great service. Salute to you, sir. Then Ian Hill, The Ramblings, which you know that I've done some collaboration work with recently. Oh my God, his output. I say it every week, but look, let's just listen to a few of these on here. Look, he had an eBay package that he had delivered. He reviewed Bone Tomahawk. He reviewed Doctor Who: The Sunmakers. He mentioned the top 5 Genesis albums. He did a live stream with me. He just goes on and on and on. You got the TV stuff as well, the X-Files. Hammer House of Horror, all of this stuff, as well as top 5 Beatles, as well, and independent albums like Neil Young. So, oh my God, it must be 1 or 2 a day. Royalty, really. I mean, you're never going to get bored on his stream, are you? You might as well. So sub to him. You're never going to get bored. My God, there's just some stuff there. And he's so knowledgeable. Great. And then you got Keith from Euphoria Pictures, which I've already told you. You have to have sometimes in your subs to videos a person that is such quality and such knowledge that you need to listen every week to them. Keith is one of those people from Euphoria Pictures. Make a note of that, Euphoria Pictures. He did a First Men 4K review, which isn't a new collection, but he did say that he'd been waiting ages on eBay, finally got one, and then suddenly you could buy it from the company that produced it. I went to have a look and it was there, right, on 4K. I thought, right, I'll have that. Of course, I wasn't a member, so I had to sign in. So I had to create an account. By the time I created an account, the 4Ks had gone and only the Blu-rays were left. Bastard. So I missed out again. That's the thing, you see. Unfortunately, if you miss out at the very, very beginning, watching somebody like Euphoria, and you don't watch it in the first hour, the stuff's gone again. I wish he'd have actually have texted me and told me that it was there. I'd have got that. Bastard. Oh. He did a buyers beware video on Chucky. Now, I showed you my own collection of Chucky, but it is an atrocious package. It's £100. It's all the Chucky films, but not all in the same media. In other words, the first one's Blu-ray and the rest are 4K. The box design is one of the worst designs you have, where the lines don't meet, because it's one of these boxes that you pull the top off and they don't line up. The booklet is in the wrong order. Very much in the same way that Zavi did Jaws, the very first edition of Jaws, and all the pages are in the wrong order. But they haven't done a recall for this product. This is what's really bad about it. And this is from a reputable company, Arrow, which I have a great respect for. So, yeah, such a bad day that. Buyers beware on that. And he unboxed 2 gifts, which I think I mentioned before. One of them was a Westerns Blu-ray to start his Westerns collection. Some good stuff on there. I asked him a question. I wanted to know what his feelings or opinions were for one of the Westerns that were on there, which was How the West Was Won. Because that's a unique film in the fact that they used 3 widescreen cameras and stitched them together to give a really wide film. But it then has a fishbowl type effect. When any character or any horse rides by from right to left or left to right, it sort of like goes round in a sort of like warped, like a fishbowl. When you're looking at the fishbowl, you know, it goes round and it distorts when it gets to the edges. Very much what they call vignetting, I think. It's definitely a film to watch, but I wanted to know whether the Blu-ray got rid of the masks. I believe there's a 4K coming out soon. So that's what I watched on YouTube. All of those, go and sub if they interest you. I can highly recommend Rock God, Euphoria, Ian Hill, The Ramblings for definite. And then we get to your stuff on YouTube. This is the people that I talk to regularly, are part of Mamemeister's Discord, etc., etc. So we got Down the Rabbit Hole, and he did an arcade play of Space Dungeon. I'd never heard of this game. I've got Mame. I've had Mame since 1998. Never played it. It's like a Robotron dungeon crawling game. Very hard for me to describe, but I'm intrigued enough that I'm going to power up my Mame and have a little look at it this week. And then he played a free game that came on the PS5 in the last couple of weeks called Rollerdrome. Now, I knew of it. Obviously I go onto my Sony account and get these free games. Just add them to my account for whenever I want to download them. But I knew that wouldn't be a game for me. It's very much like Tony Hawk's Skate with roller skates, but with guns and a sort of a BMX type course. It isn't like a Rocket Ball at all. which is another great game with roller skates on the Commodore 64. I would never play that game. Atrocious. And he didn't like it either. So certain games meet your play style. That one doesn't meet mine at all. I was never very good at doing these tricks that you're supposed to do, like grinding and all that. No good at them. Robert's Retro Gaming, we come to royalty. My salute to you, by the way, Keith at Down the Rabbit Hole. Robert's Retro Gaming. My God, gaming royalty for the Atari. We start off with Hardcore Minecraft. He's now up to episode 11 already. And then his 8-bit stuff. He did Ghostbusters, the old classic Ghostbusters. Great watching that. These are on the Atari. Tennis, Coastal Invasion, Mirax Force, Rabbit Revolt, Motocross 800, and I think there was one other, but I ran out of space for writing things down. But my God, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 videos this week. 7 days in a week. Do the math. Brilliant. We get to Seb's place. My salute to you, Robert. My God, you just get better every week, you bastard. Seb's place. My first Amstrad CPC in 40 plus years. He went out and bought an Amstrad and did a top 10. I don't have that much nostalgia myself for an Amstrad CPC. Saw them in the shops, played them on there. Didn't have a friend who had one. Only appreciated them during emulation. So very nice that he got that and he went out and bought one. Quite cheap as well. Got a good bargain, I believe. Salute to you, sir. Fantastic video. As always, your production value is great. Steve's Gaming and his salute. Bastard. Did Planet Crafter episodes 5 to 7. Always fun. Not enough deaths, but always fun. He's learning so much, but he's going to come a cropper shortly. And that's all I'm going to say. He's going to head to a demise if he doesn't change soon. And he did his games I suck at, which are Tapper, Rock and Rope, and Up and Down. And I have to say, I gave some advice on Tapper because I was crap at it until somebody pointed out, you're doing it wrong. And I have to admit, as soon as somebody told me that wherever you start on the game, which is usually in the middle, all you got to do is tap up twice on the joystick and then start playing. As soon as I learnt that, I got much further into the game. Never forgot that tip. Amazing. Go and sub to Steve. Brilliant. So funny. So funny. His voice is funny. He talks about games but brings his life into it. Take it like this. I was watching him play Planet Crafter. And there he was picking up all the elements, minerals and so forth. And he just went on for 3 minutes about his toothache. Just makes me laugh. That's brilliant. 20th Century Gaming. Salute to you, Steve's Gaming. 20th Century Gaming did a long play of something called Nautilus on the Commodore 64. Never heard of that game. It's an old one as well. I usually know those because I had a Commodore 64 in early 83, late 82. And I bought lots and lots of games because it was a new machine and there wasn't much out. It was the year it came out. So, yeah, interesting. Definitely watch that. Then we get to Ponder. We've already talked about Ponder. Again, sort of some gaming royalty, really, because his high score challenge videos are up there with the best that I've seen out there. And then, of course, he does his vlog. And it's nice to hear a person moan as much as I do. So definitely shout out to Colin Jones Ponder. Look for those two names on the internet and subscribe. The vlogs alone are worth it. And then we get to my mate Mamemeister. I always do him last, but I do it through fondness and the fact that I think a lot of people hear the last things that I talk about. He's done a video called Meister versus Flanagan, Virtuous Striker, the rematch, because he did it a year ago, a challenge at Arcade Club, and he'd just been to Arcade Club that weekend. And it was not a decider, but it was 3 games and who was going to win this time. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Definitely worth a watch. He did an Arcade Perfect My Arse on Green Beret. Finally getting around to doing Green Beret, purely because I think somebody mentioned to him that the Commodore 64 version of Green Beret, which is considered to be the worst game in history, and I have to agree, it's been superseded by the Atari version. And both Mamemeister and I went, well, when I was watching it, I just agreed and went, you're having a laugh. That's far from a bad game of Green Beret. The C16 version still holds the accolade of the worst Green Beret I've ever seen. Oh my God. And then we've got him with his friend trying to play an old game that he used to love as a kiddie called Flight Path 737. And he called it The Impossible Game. It's not impossible, but I understand where he's coming from. Taking off in that game, flying over the mountains and then landing again, bloody hard. It's not impossible. But, you know, anything that gets people to watch that stuff is great. And lastly, it was Friday's Waffle, which he did on Saturday, which I had great enjoyment with. Some people joined, not as many as it had gone if it was live on a Friday. But I asked him some questions. I hope he enjoyed those questions that I was reading out to him. And it was a great stream. And that ends the blog, other than what we'll always end with, which is what I've bought this week and the trailers. So, oh my God, when it comes to what I bought this week, this I didn't buy, but it's to help Wee Bob Art a little bit. I was upstairs looking at my DVD collection, seeing what I could archive, put away. And this is the last thing my dad bought me on DVD. It's called the Muhammad Ali exclusive DVD and book. And if you look there, that is not a photograph, that is drawn, or a photograph with drawing done over the top. Look at the detail on that. Brilliant. Opens up quite uniquely as well. It's a flap. There we go. And you've got the book. Rumbling. You got the book. I'm a little special, and the Rumble in the Jungle in its entirety. The famous George Foreman Rumble in the Jungle fight. Loved it when my dad bought me back something like that. Kept me engrossed. For days. I'd watch it over and over again. And it's understandable probably why Muhammad Ali is one of those icons for me. Never let things get on top of him to the point where he kept moving forward. He was the real life Rocky, as far as I'm concerned. Another book came through this week. It was Daredevil Omnibus. See how big these omnibuses are. This one, again, I missed the pre-order price because of what happened on Amazon and the hacking. Luckily, there's only about 2 more omnibuses to go. All my omnibuses I've been recently ordered have been on the day, so that I will get these books at half price again. But this one covers Daredevil issues 75 to 119, the Avengers issue 111, Marvel 2-in-1-3, and materials from Amazing Adventures 1 to 8. So you can see all the covers on the back. Covers a heck of a lot of books. So thick. Daredevil. Not the best, or what some consider to be, well, Marvel considered Daredevil a joke for a number of years. Must be 30 odd years working on that book. Though, for everybody who ever did work on it, they loved it. They didn't want to come off the book, even though it was a poor seller. John Romita, my artist hero, was on it, but only for 5 books. He didn't want to come off of it. I'm glad he did, because he went on to Spider-Man and became the icon that he is through drawing Spider-Man. But Daredevil to me has always been that unique, non-really super-powered person with heightened abilities. And from that point of view, the stories are grounded. Not so mystical, superhero-y, radioactive, blah, 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 blah. Characters that his own stature would be able to cope with, if you see what I mean. More mental. Then there's all of the stuff that came in. Now, a lot of this stuff I'm going to show you here in this pile, cover my DVDs, so I can throw or give my DVDs away to people. Last time I did this, it was Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which I gave to my friend Rock God. But anyway, so you got It Came from the Sea, Beneath the Sea, a Ray Harryhausen film. Brilliant. Blu-ray. 4K high definition. Yes, so it's a 4K transfer. Terror from Outer Space. These, by the way, are all a $5 or less. Another Ray Harryhausen, high definition again. Mysterious Island, another Ray Harryhausen. Nearly must complete my Ray Harryhausen on Blu-ray now. That's a 2K restoration, so high definition, slightly lower grade, 2K, not 4K. Someone to Watch Over Me, a Ridley Scott film that's not talked about too much. After he did Alien and Blade Runner and so forth, he did a number of films that were brilliant, but got so much critical acclaim because, to be quite honest, until Thelma and Louise came on, the in-between films were things like Black Rain and Someone to Watch Over Me. And although great films are not held in much people's memories these days, Black Rain, by the way, is a favourite of mine. Love Black Rain. And then we've got Road Games, which is very much like Jewel. Like I say, all of these are $5. And they replace my DVDs of them. And then we've got some of the more expensive ones. We've got, and ones that I've watched as well this week. So I have watched one of the Oceans trilogy. That's Oceans 11, 12, 13. This is a steel book of all of them in one. A Blu-ray of Evolution with slipcase. Lovely glossy cover to that one. Evolution. Criminal, there's no 4K of that one. 10 Rillington Place goes with those other ones under a $5. What a fantastic film. Saw that this week. Lincoln I got from a charity shop. Brilliant Blu-ray. Steven Spielberg film. Fantastic. And my trilogy is finally finished with, in regards to getting James Cameron's 4K stuff. My Abyss has come through. It's not from America. It's from Italy. I've mentioned before why I ordered the Italian one. I didn't know whether the Blu-rays were going to be multi-region. The Italian one, therefore, was a no-brainer, although it took longer to get over here. And that concludes everything I bought. And normally, I made a mistake. I would have done that on this cam, Galaxy Cam. Go figure that I'm actually cocked up again this week. But anyway, we now move to media playback. So, we'll get my media player up. And I'm going to shut up and let you watch trailers of films that I've watched this week. Some of those were in that pile. So, I'm going to shut up and let you watch some trailers. I'll see you on the other side.
We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
We can't tell our people they can vote yes on abolishing slavery unless at the same time we can tell them that you're seeking a negotiated peace.
It's either the amendment or this Confederate peace. You cannot have both.
How many hundreds of thousands have died during your administration?
Congress must never declare equal those whom God created unequal.
Leave the Constitution alone.
We're stepped out upon the world stage now, with the fate of human dignity in our hands. Blood's been spilled to afford us this moment. Now!
Abraham Lincoln has asked us to work with him to accomplish the death of slavery.
No one's ever been loved so much by the people. Don't waste that power.
This fight is for the United States of America.
Do we choose to be born, or are we fitted to the times we're born into?
Well, I don't know about myself.
Not only of the millions now in bondage, but of unborn millions to come. Shall we stop this bleeding?
When was the last time you were in Vegas? What's the target? You're gonna steal from Terry Benedict. You're gonna need a crew as nuts as you are.
You're a thief and a liar.
I only lied about being a thief. I don't do that anymore.
Steal.
Lie. Why do this? Because the house always wins. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house. Been practicing this, Peter. A little bit. Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. No, it was good. I liked it.
Congratulations. You're a dead man. I want it all back.
So what does this mean? Need a high-paying job. We're too hot to work anywhere in this country.
Mr. Ocean, the only way to know who's the best of us is to go after the same object. If you accept my challenge and win, I'll pay your debt to Benedict.
What are we stealing?
I'm freaking out!
So, how'd it go?
You think we need one more? You think we need one more?
I don't lose. People who bet on me to lose.
Break them.
There are a couple of characters here I'm not too sure about.
Kensington chap here. Everybody down!
The nose plays. The nose does play. The nose plays. You're either in or you're out. This is the #1 court at London's Old Bailey. The case being tried here influenced the hanging laws of England.
Timothy John Evans, the court has found you guilty of willful murder. And the sentence of the court...
But what happens when you hang the wrong man on the evidence of a smooth-tongued liar whose pathological lust to kill shocked the world?
You suffer death by hanging.
Hanging. Hanging. His name, John Christie. His address, 10 Rillington Place, London, West 11.
Breathe. No. Breathe, Muriel. No.
Take a deep breath and remember that what you see here really happened is factually based on official documents. You might well say,
There, but for the grace of God, go I.
My bloody house, isn't it? I got rights in my own bloody house. Now then.
We advise you to look at Christie closely. Very, very closely. For he lives again in the person of Richard Attenborough. Another of his victims. Judy Geeson takes you into this little back room, and you gasp for breath right alongside her.
Don't make me hurt you! Please!
This was the beginning of this man's end.
You knew all about it, didn't you?
Of course I knew about it.
You're an accessory before the act. I done nothing. Oh, God, I done nothing.
Simple, innocent, bragging. Timothy John Evans. Hanging. If ever an actor was born to step into a dead man's shoes. Hanging.
Sign that, lad.
His name, John Hurt.
If you don't know how to write your name, just put a cross.
Get Christie. Get him here to see me. He's the only one who can help me now.
If you saw him walking in the street, would you give him a second glance? Yet this man Christie killed. Not once, nor twice, neither 3 times, nor 4 times, but 5, 6, and 7 times did he kill. It all happened here, at 10 Rillington Place. Fantastic. Incredible. But true.
Christie done it. Christie done it. Christie done it.
It began 2 years ago in an unfinished nuclear power plant. It became one of the most challenging motion pictures ever made. And on August 9th, the most original adventure of the summer will begin at theaters everywhere. From James Cameron, the writer and director of The Terminator and Aliens, comes The Abyss.
God, I hate that bitch.
Probably shouldn't have married her then, huh?
Hang on, gentlemen.
Here's a bottomless pit, baby. 2.5 miles straight down.
A dance of light. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I don't think they mean us any harm. I don't know how I know that.
Whatever happens, it's up to us. That guy scares me more than anything that's down there.
But we all see what we want to see. Coffee looks and he sees hate and fear. You have to look with better eyes than that. Talk to me, Bud, please. Do you hear me?
He's coming up fast.
I need to know if you're okay. You can't leave me here alone.
You never backed away from anything in your life. Now fight!
investigate the meteor, if indeed that is what it is.
Oh, ooh. It's a rock that bleeds. Now that's peculiar.
It's too amazing to even contemplate it. It's like they're evolving. The little babies seem to be growing up.
I hope they don't make it to puberty.
There's a bug in my suit! You're all sealed up! That's impossible! Don't tell me I'm sealed up! I know there's a bug in my... Ooh! It's in me! Get this thing out of me!
Hey, Harry. Ooh.
How are you going in?
Might be able to catch it in his colon. All right, flip him!
I'll get the lubricant.
There's no time for lubricant.
There's always time for lubricant!
This summer,
Is there some sort of alien attack happening here?
have a nice end of the world evolution.
Good googa mugga.
Come on, cutie pie.
David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, Sean William Scott,
Awesome!
and Academy Award nominee Julianne Moore.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Uh-oh, time to go.
Evolution.
So what do you want? Light meat or dark?
You have to ask.
And I just noticed that when I was playing it back, there's no audio in the last minute. Bloody marvellous, isn't it? So I thought I'll just tap this on at the end just to say that really those clips, they always make me laugh. And the last one, Evolution, it took an absolute age to actually get that to me. I've had it on DVD for a great many years. Ordered it on Blu-ray in February, came through this week. Probably one of the longest waits I've ever had. And with that, I'm just basically going to say apologies for the lack of sound. You've got it now. It's at the end. I've recorded it again. And I hope you have a great week. I'll be here again next week. Do like if you like this. And I do hope to see you all again. I really take enjoyment creating these videos. And I'll speak again very soon. And with that, salute, and have a great week. Bye-bye.